Hey guys, this is my next game review, and it's for Assassin's Creed 3. This game is coming out on the 30th of October this year. Another game I'm actually looking forward to, really excited, and I'm not just saying that because it's an Assassin's Creed game. I'm actually really looking for. I've seen all the demos for this game, and it looks really, really good. And I'm not just saying that. Like I said, I'm not just saying that because it's an Assassin's Creed game. I've seen Revelations, and to be honest, guys, I was kind of disappointed with it. When you overview it from over all the games, um, for the change wasn't that good in my opinion, and I'll explain why. The change or the transition from Assassin's Creed 1 to Assassin's Creed 2 was so big. It really made it was kind of hard to believe that Assassin's Creed 2 was even a sequel to the first one, and that was what made it a really fun game. The change from Assassin's Creed 2 to Assassin's Creed Brotherhood wasn't that much of a difference, but it was still a fun game. Brotherhood was still a very fun game in my opinion. You know, it had some more features, but it wasn't that big of a difference from 2, but it was still, a worthy game for the series. But however, Assassin's Creed Revelations in my opinion took a downturn, and that is why it kind of was that's why it wasn't as good as Brotherhood. I'm not saying it was bad. It was, a worthy game to do a walkthrough on, but it's still just it wasn't enough to make it a better game. It wasn't. There were some features in the game that made it worse than Brotherhood, and that was what I was kind of disappointed in. That is why I sort of thought Brotherhood, in my opinion, was a better game. Now, based on the demos, and you can never trust demos because sometimes the gameplay of demos that they provide you and the gameplay from the actual game itself are actually quite different. If you compare, even look at my I still have Uncharted 3 gameplay demo, which I favored a year ago. You can look at that and compare it to the actual walkthrough of Uncharted 3 that I have, and you can see the gameplay differences. They're not exactly the same. There are some differences. But I'm still keeping my hopes high for this game. Um, and I'm kind of excited for the historical background. The American Revolution. The late 18th century. It looks really cool, and that's what should make it. They take these actual historical characters like George Washington and John Adams, and they actually plug them into the storyline, and that should actually make it a game worthwhile. So I'm definitely looking for that. I definitely hope to see the Hidden Blade. I didn't see that in the demo. I noticed there was a tomahawk, which looked pretty cool. They had the bow and arrow, which isn't exactly a substitute for the pistol or the crossbow. I still hope. I noticed how they also used muskets. Those old rifles that they used in the Revolution. Um, those look pretty cool. I'm excited for the new assassin, Connor Kenway is his name. Um, he should be pretty cool. Although you can never you can never forget Ezio. He was a pretty badass assassin, along with Altair. But we got to move on because Ezio's dead, obviously. So I definitely look forward to seeing that game. I definitely plan on doing a walkthrough. Hope you guys stay forward for that. And what other thing I was going to talk about? Forgot. I can't believe I forgot. And I'm recording right now, and I can't believe I forgot what I was going to say. There really wasn't much to say, to be honest. The game. One thing I'm hoping for is definitely the Hidden Blade. That's kind of what makes an assassin, like the assassins, what they are. The Hot Tomahawk looks pretty cool. I would say that's like sort of a worthy replacement of the dagger. Crossbow was the bow and arrow was the substitute for the crossbow, and the musket's the replacement for the pistol. And I definitely don't want to see any more bombs. To be honest, I did not. In Revelations, they were introduced, and bombs were not that fun, in my opinion. They kind of made the game a little bit harder. I don't want to see any more guys that are sort of like Janissaries. Those guys definitely were ridiculously hard to fight. They weren't your average guards, and they definitely didn't make the game fun at all. But that's just my opinion. This is my review of the game. Um, I noticed that there had been some controversy between the British, like the UK, and Americans. you know, because they're obviously portrayed as the antagonists, you know, and obviously we won. So I'm not trying to diss British people. For those of you who are watching from Britain or England, it's just historical background. You know, that's what makes the game. That's what, you know, people buy it for. I'm pretty sure there have been other games that have been, you know, kind of showing the downside of another country, but you know that's just business. So I'm not trying to diss anybody. It looks like a fun game. You know, I'm not. I'm pretty sure English people might be offended, but you know, I'm pretty sure there have been games out there that have made Americans look bad. So yeah, definitely look forward to it. I'm probably gonna have to cut this review short, and yeah, I'll see you guys later.